Welcome to this tutorial, and in this lesson we are going to learn how to use loops within arrays. So for instance, how you can be able to iterate the items in an array. We are going to work this out using a for loop, and later on we can try also with a while loop just to see how this works. So we are going to write a for loop. So for int I, remember the initialization, int I for the counter variable, int I equals to 0. Then we have to have a condition. So we want to run this loop up to the end of the array, and therefore we have to check that I, which is our counter variable, is less than the length of the array. So remember how we get to know the length of the array using the length property. So as long as I is less than student names, that's the name of our array, student names dot length. As long as I is less than students names dot length, we can increment our counter with I plus plus. So let's assume our task is only to print out. Our task is only to print out the names of these students. So how do we do that? So we remember how we are able to access an item or a value within an array. We use the index. So every time our loop is running, we have a counter variable. For instance, when it's running, it's going to be at 0, and therefore we know that we can be able to access an item index 0 using the counter. So what we have here, we can have the counter to help us access the index of that particular array value. So let's run our program and find out whether it actually achieves that purpose for us. So we expect it to print out the names following the indexes or the indices that we have in our array. So and to its work, we have James, John, Peter, Sarah, Susan, and Julia. So they have been printed out. So simply the key takeaway from this is that you use, whenever you want to loop an array, you use the loop, either it's a while loop or a do while loop or a for loop. You just write it the normal way. However, you use the counter variable. For instance, in our case, our counter variable is the I, and for each loop, you can use that counter variable to access an index in the array and perform an operation on it. In our case, the operation that we were performing was for printing it out. So we have done that using a for loop. So let us try with a while loop. So that it doesn't print out twice, let me comment out the printing parts. So let's write a while loop, and remember a while loop also has an initialization variable. So we are going to say int I equals to 0. We start at 0 and we write a while condition. So while I is less than student names dot length, remember how to access the length property that gives you the size of the array. So while I is less than student names dot length, we can print out these students. How do we print them out, and how do we access each item in the array? Using the counter variable, it can help us access every item that is in that array. And how do you access an item in an array? Using its index. So we call out the name of the variable, the name of the array, square brackets, and within the square brackets, we input the I, which is our counter variable, and for each iteration, is going to give us the item that is in that particular position. And remember, to avoid the scenario for an infinite loop, you have to increment the counter or advance the counter. So I plus plus, finalize with the colon to close that. So let's run this program and find out how it does the same using the while loop. Very good. So also using the while loop, it does print for us the names James, John, Peter, Sarah, Susan, and Julia. So key takeaways from this lesson are how to write a loop or how to loop an array using iterations, how to use the counter variable to access the various indices or indexes in an array, and how you can do the same using a for loop and a while loop. Those are the ones that we have used as an example. And also a key point, always remember to increment the counter variable to avoid the scenario for an infinite loop. Thank you very much. Keep learning, keep in the series. Let's see you in the next video. Thank you very much.